And
You're stunned.
I'm
You're
stunned,
speechless.
and I just heard my dog bark outside, and she's going to keep barking if I don't let her in. Live on the air, I'm going to run.
You're going to run.
It's going to be 10 seconds.
We'll count down.
Okay.
Go for it.
Hello and welcome to Mr. Husband, the podcast where we talk about a host of manly issues from a husband's perspective. My name's Gabe.
And this is Will. So Gabe, Christy and I just came off of this unusual, I don't know if I would say unusual. We came with this interesting detox diet.
Did you invent it or
No. This this program is called Whole30, and I won't get into it too much, but the whole premise is for 30 days, you commit to basically leaving out from your diet all sorts of stuff. No butter, no dairy. You can't have legumes. You can't have.
I'm going to pretend that I know what a legume is.
Legumes are like beans and stuff like that.
Okay.
So they're like beans.
Okay.
Basically nothing with sauces, which is kind of annoying. And it's a struggle, right?
But you can't have bacon?
You can have bacon. Oh, and no sugar. Nothing with like added sugar.
Okay.
Nothing with like preservatives. Nothing with like weird chemical names. So anything you buy off the shelf is like kind of challenging because everything that's packaged has like some sort of additive element or component to it. So what the whole idea is like they're really honing in on like the raw, natural stuff, natural food items.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point of it is you're not supposed to, you don't actually do it because you want to lose weight, although that could be sort of a byproduct. You do it because you're quote unquote resetting the system in your body. And you're like just getting rid of all the crap that's been there for the years or the months that you've been eating fries and burgers.
The only reason I've ever gone on a diet is to look better. So I don't know.
What about this is about
not about feeling better. I mean, the feeling better is a good thing, but let's get the looks down first.
So it looks good. Yeah, it looks as definitely there's part of it where it's the looks. I mean, like there's greater energy. You don't feel as tired when you wake up, which might be of interest to you because I know you guys have sometimes hard times going to bed.
We do.
And getting a good night's sleep. And any sort of, I don't know, like ulcer type conditions you might have had from eating like spicy crap or like greasy stuff. Like it starts to heal that a little bit. You tend to be a little bit more mentally sharp, I guess. But yeah, it in principle, it's a great thing. Chris and I did it the abridged version, which there is no such thing. You're supposed to do this for 30 days, and you're supposed to be committed to it. We did it for like 14 days, like 2 weeks. And even within those 14 days, I got to say, like, I feel the difference.
Half of the toxins have been
removed. just half. So there's a part of me now that even though we've wrapped up the sort of detox diet this past weekend, like I kind of want to continue going into it and like kind of maintaining it and just see what happens. But
what does Christine feel?
I think Christine's over it. Like she's ready to because for a while we're on this detox diet, she wasn't able to have the homemade sandwiches that I made for her lunch to take with her.
So you would just make them and then throw them out.
Just yeah, man. But like she missed her sandwiches, so we're back at it. I'm making sandwiches for her. That was the other thing. Like you couldn't have any carbs, no bread.
So she's retoxing now. She detoxed and now she's retoxing.
No, I think the whole one of the additional things is you go through this for 30 days and you're intentionally supposed to reintroduce like food back into your body. But what you'll realize or recognize is when you like eat something again that you haven't been eating for the past 30 days, like you'll become very acutely aware of how it affects you. And so if it's something that's super unhealthy that makes you feel tired or I don't know, creates other sort of conditions, you'll then tell yourself, oh, this is bad for me. Like, this is like really bad for me. Like, I need to actually cut this out.
You'll have more body awareness.
Exactly. So, which I think is a good thing. A little body awareness.
Did you guys fight a little bit more when you're on a diet?
We didn't fight a little more.
You would know. You wouldn't need to think about it.
Yeah. I will say, I think because we did it together, like, as opposed to just her or just me, there's something in this idea of kind of being in the trenches together and like fighting through the battle that you kind of actually lean on each other more than you do try to create like tension or conflict. So if anyone is going to do this and you are married, try and buddy up here as opposed to going it alone.
That's probably a good idea, but I do get a little testy when I'm like depriving myself of anything. And
good.
I tend to take it out on the person who's like nearest to me, which would usually be Vera. It might be you if I was. But I ate like half a baguette this morning, so I clearly am.
That sounds good.
I'm just swimming with toxin. And where does this toxin go? Like down the toilet? Just to kill the dolphins? Does it evaporate?
Probably. Through sweat, through other ways of, excremation.
Perhaps we should go on a diet together. We're in a pseudo marriage of sorts.
We should go on a Mr. Husband. Like we should formulate our own version of a diet.
We could sell an ebook, perhaps,
and our own juices.
There we go. That didn't sound right, but yeah.
But anyways, kind of want to put that out there. If people are interested, check it out. Just Google Whole30.
Not a sponsor, not endorsement.
Not a sponsor, yeah.
If you die on this detox, don't
come to us.
Primarily because we don't have any money, but other reasons being that we're not endorsing it.
And also we're not experts in this particular diet plan.
There we go.
So yeah, that's something I want to share with you.
I have a bigger thing to share, if I may say so myself.
Ooh, I feel an announcement's coming along.
Yeah, we're not pregnant with a second child because I think biologically that would be impossible. But we did put an offer that was accepted on a house in Torrance.
Hallelujah!
So I qualify it by saying that we didn't buy a house because we are still in the inspection period.
Got it.
Which, as we're going through this, it's like fascinating, right? Because you buy this house. First of all, I should preface. So Vera, we want to move closer to Vera's work, make life better for her. Mm-hmm. We're having a newborn child, so we were like, hey, we should get a turnkey house, right? Just a house that we can just move into and start living, start enjoying life.
Set up shop.
Somehow we managed to buy like a total fixer-upper, which I partially blame on the TV show Fixer Upper, which makes it look incredibly easy, fairly easy to renovate a house.
Fantastic show.
Yeah. So we bought a house with like foundation issues, a little bit of asbestos, just everything. But the issue, the pro is that the price is a reflection of its ugly duckling status. But we will remake it into an amazing structure, maybe, or we'll bail when we continue doing all these inspections and more stuff comes up that wasn't disclosed.
What is like the window of time to complete said inspection for you guys?
Well, I think inspection period is up until like early August, I think,
like
and then we close on the 18th of August. So
I see.
Basically a 30-day period, but I think we're going to move ahead.
I mean, it's worth mentioning for our listeners. By the way, we are on video, so I failed to acknowledge or make a statement at the beginning of this episode that for the people who are coming to this episode specifically that are brand new, we're trying something a little bit different.
Yeah, and if you feel that Will looks amazing because of his diet, show him some love in the comments.
Thumbs up the video, right? Anyway, so we are recording this, so I don't know.
It's cool.
We're looking at each other. If I'm looking over there,
and you want to know what we look like, I should sit up more. I need better posture. Anyways,
we both have a look. Anyways, so one of the things that we should probably mention to our listening and viewing audience is the fact that you guys have been looking for a home for a while now, right?
Oh yes,
in the South Bay, Torrance area.
We've been looking for a long time. We put in 3 different offers, well over asking, lost every time. The housing market is crazy, so we have been reduced to this. In a state of hysteria, we bought a house that needs like a lot of renovation, and I am going to become like the general contractor of our. It's going to be interesting.
You're the new Tim Allen.
Yes,
you should document every like project that you do. By the way, if you end up going forward with the home,
we will mine this entire venture for our podcast.
I love it
because like literally like everyone, they're like, first of all, it's like. Renovations are like the thing that breaks up marriages. Everyone says this. They're like,
really?
Oh yeah, divorces. Like if you're like in the divorce business, renovations are like one of the main things.
Is it because like you're disagreeing on like what color to paint the walls? Or?
There's a lot of conflict. There's also a lot of uncertainty. Money. There's a lot of financial pressures. There's, a lot of people try to live in the house through the renovation, added discomfort, yada, yada, yada. But hopefully we'll stay together.
Man.
Stay tuned.
I'm sure you guys will do just fine. I have faith in you. I believe in you guys.
Thank you.
Speaking of you and Vera, first of all, I guess semi congratulations on the home.
Thank you.
TBD, obviously, but semi halfway congratulations.
Listen to the confidence in my voice. Yeah.
But anyways, you were mentioning Vera, obviously. I think some of our listeners want to get another quick update on how the pregnancy is coming. You guys are like roughly 6 months along.
Yeah, just past the 6 month mark, I think.
Woo!
We're actually approaching the seventh.
You're nearing the home stretch.
Yeah, we're yeah. No, wait. We're almost at the 6 month mark. Let me do the math properly. Anyways, the baby's due October 30th. So the newest update, I mean, everything's going pretty well. Mm-hmm. So like there is less interesting when everything goes well.
Sure.
But great for me, maybe not as interesting for our listeners. But I would say like the one takeaway is that I think it's very smart as husbands to constantly, like if you're finding your wife hot, banging, like make sure you constantly tell her that.
You seize every opportunity.
Because I think like Vera is constantly like surprised. She's like, oh my God, I'm getting so big, which always amuses me.
Right.
Because she is pregnant.
She's pregnant.
And if she wasn't getting bigger constantly, that would be cause for worry.
This must be I'd have to imagine it's like a universal sort of like mix of emotions and feelings that all pregnant women go through. Like they're growing this baby inside of them.
You got these new clothes, these new stretchy clothes.
Yeah, but what they like still focus on the fact, besides the fact that they're clearly pregnant, it's like I gained weight.
Yeah. So the emphasis has got to be you gained weight in the right places. And this is all sincere. I believe this, but it's like constantly reaffirming her. And like we went to the beach, we went swimming in the beautiful Pacific again this last weekend, and like it was really interesting because like I think like women are like really aware of this, and probably because it would be inappropriate if men did this. But like all these women would like approach Vera, be like, "You look great, honey," like that kind of thing.
Oh, you go, girl.
But it'd be so funny, right? If like a dude came up and was like, "Yo, you look hot."
How would you feel if?
Well, it depends how creepy. If it was said like that, I would be like, "Yo, bro, like step back,
take a step back." You're a little too close.
I like my vernacular, yo, bro. But if, I don't know, you could say it maybe in the right way, I guess, but it's hard, right? Sometimes as a man, you see a beautiful pregnant woman and you're like, you want to be like, thank you for existing. Thank you for spreading the human genes across the world for the future. But you can't say that. Maybe you could just slow clap from afar or something like that.
Yeah.
But you can't whistle. That would be sexist.
You can't do that. Yeah, I guess there's no easy way for a man to give a pregnant woman compliments.
So women, can you give us a way for us to think?
Yeah, we need a tip here.
I don't know what to do. I can compliment my wife, but the random pregnant stranger on the street can't say a thing.
This is factually correct. Excellent. Well, we'll get another update soon. And we were just talking about this idea of giving life. Let's talk about the other end of the spectrum here, which is when one passes away.
Wow.
So,
what a horrible transition. Like I'm so down.
You're stunned.
I'm
You're
stunned.
speechless.
And I just heard my dog bark outside, and she's going to keep barking if I don't let her in. Live on the air, I'm going to run.
You're going to run.
It's going to be 10 seconds.
We'll count down.
Okay.
Go for it. So while Gabe is going to let Grace in, we're going to talk about this idea of passing away. And just sort of what are some of our thoughts? What happens? What are the different options? What is it that we would want for ourselves? And let's give Gabe a second here. I'm going to sip on my water. Refreshing. There she is. We've made it. This is to prove that Gabe wasn't lying.
I have a dog. Okay, sorry, Will. I left you hanging.
No worries. I was doing a minor monologue with the audience here. Anyways, so we're going to get into this topic of, when you pass away, the end of life, how do we want to pass away, and all that good stuff. So obviously, maybe we can. Here's a starting point.
This is an important topic.
It is, and I don't know about you. Like, I've tried to bring up with Christine discussions of death and discussions of passing. I don't know how Vera feels about it when you try to bring it up, or if you guys bring it up, but Christine will have like none of it.
Yeah, Vera will be like, I don't want to talk about that. She shuts me down every time. Yeah, like, I don't want to do that. But I think it's like totally important to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now that we're having a child, we can kind of like start having these conversations more clearly, because God forbid what happens if we were like driving and die in a car crash.
Yeah, God forbid. I mean, it would be irresponsible. Even if like, my feeling is, even if you aren't expecting a kid or don't have a kid, it would be somewhat irresponsible not to talk about, at least talk about. Like, I'm not saying you got to generate a will, which is a whole different subject that we can get into next time, but like, to be able to just openly talk about, if something were to happen to me or something were to happen to Christine, like, I'd like to know what she or what I would want to happen.
Yeah. And for someone who identifies as an atheist, I spend a lot of time thinking about what my life will be after I die. Like, what will happen to my... I should not care.
You shouldn't.
But I think a lot about it because, like, it's an expensive process depending on how you do it. It's like, it affects how people remember you.
Right.
So, like, in Judaism, the common thing is, like, you got to be buried in the ground, which means, like, in a cemetery.
Oh, so there's, like, no like, real cremation options.
No. You can't do that. And I think in Catholicism, you can't do that either.
Right. Gotta be buried.
Yeah. Rumors are that the Pope is going to allow for cremation, but he doesn't currently.
Maybe like these religions are in cahoots with all these like funeral cemeteries to like actually like force people to buy plots of land.
It's a highly plausible scenario.
And so, I mean, we're kind of getting into this, but like, as far as like the major options, obviously you can have a burial, you can have an actual physical plot, a grave site, which from my research, I mean, it could be like a couple thousand, like 7,000 and above for just like the basic stuff, right? And like, obviously the cost piles on if you get like all the additional little details and luxuries of buying.
If you want to be next to the nice tree with the view.
Exactly. Maybe a velvet lining inside the casket. So burials are roughly like 7,000 and above. The much more affordable option, which is the way I would like to go.
Self-burial, just take you to a national park with a shovel.
That's like gangsters. That's like mafia style.
I'll do that for $200, Will.
just hire some hoodlums.
We'll only go 2 feet down, though. I could 6 feet under. That's a lot of work.
Man, 2 feet. I don't think I can do the 2 feet. But the other option then, there's that. And then another one's obviously cremation, which is, I feel like, another popular one. I think that's the route that I would like to go. It's only $1,000 for the base price.
I wish we had conflict, but I too agree.
Damn it.
Like, see, for me, like, there are other options. Like,
right.
But, okay, specifically analyzing the common, like, burial scenario. Mm-hmm. Because some people get cremated and they're still buried in the ground.
That's true. Right.
So, like, there is this notion that it's sold in a way where it's like supposed to be forever, but like this is like unsustainable. You can't have a like what would it be, like a 3x8 8-foot plot that is yours in perpetuity forever.
Eternity.
You're claiming that space on the earth. It won't last like that. Like at some point, someone won't care. And they'll build something on it or put a farm on it or whatever.
They're going to build condos on top of
Like Switzerland has this down. Like I think what they do is, at least in most of their cemeteries, it's like a 99-year lease. At which point, someone else gets your spot, like on top of you.
Can you re-up?
Once you like you can probably re-up.
Or
I don't know if you can.
Your kids or grandkids might re-up you.
Maybe.
Well, that's interesting.
But let's, unless you're a famous author or like, historically relevant, what's the point, really? They might say they're going to re-up you, but they'd rather just go on a vacation to Hawaii or something. You
know who's going to be re-upped for eternity?
Who?
People like JFK, MLK.
Fine, those people deserve it.
That's true. I would like to get to that status one day.
There's also sky burial, which is what Buddhist monks do, in like Tibet.
Sky burial.
So what that is, I mean, there's lots of different burial techniques, you know, all available to read about on Wikipedia. But sky burial is my favorite one, where they take your dead body, leave it on like the top of a mountain for vultures. The like vultures peck away and eat your entire body. And so basically it's like you're directly giving all of the nutrients from your body like to the living
Back
things
to
of the world.
That's an interesting thought. I wonder if that could be arranged here in the States somehow. Probably not.
Perhaps.
Probably illegal. And actually, you know, there's probably one other option, which is you can donate your body to science or medicine, I guess.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know how I feel about that one, though.
So I'm an organ donor.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I feel like everyone's got to be an organ donor. Come on, people. If you're willing to accept someone else's organ, that's what the rule should be. The rule should be you
got to give if you want to take.
Yeah, you got to give if you want to take. On your driver's license, you should also have to say, you know, you can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't give.
You can't be like picky about that stuff where
you can't accept without giving.
Yeah.
Took my mind a while to wrap my head around that.
Well, welcome. You've made it.
Ever since I ran to get Grace from outside.
Your brain is still catching up?
I'm like sweating. I'm totally out of it. She's really heavy.
That's all right. So yeah, that's another option. Just kind of donate your body to medicine science. I'm not an organ donor, but you make a good point. I would like to think that if at some point, again, God forbid, get into some accident and need like a kidney, I should be willing to give up my healthy kidney if someone else needs it.
I think the selling point, it's like if you know anyone in your life who's benefited from this, you kind of feel compelled to do it yourself. But if you don't know, then it's like it's less compelling. I think people always have that fear. Like, do you have a fear like, oh, I'm going to be on the operating table and they're going to see that I'm a liver donor, and then they're going to be like, oh, well, let's just kill him.
Well, here's another thing. I mean, if you are truly dead, what does it matter to you? You know, and I think there's something kind of interesting or somewhat romantic. I don't know if romantic's the right word, but something interesting in this idea of like a part of you gets to live on in someone else's body.
I like it. It appeals to my ego.
Yeah.
There we go. My narcissism.
Can you donate brains? That would be interesting.
If only people could have my brain.
I don't know if anyone wants mine.
Why am I neurotic? Why am I so filled with anxiety?
This is not the person I was before. What's going on?
This is horrible.
Anyways, donating your body, organ donor. Yeah, totally valid. I like that. Now, so we both sort of agreed that, at least for the time being, cremation's the way to go.
It's like an ad for cremation.
Yeah.
But why do you like...
We need to go find a sponsorship for cremation. I don't know if there's like...
I wanted to do a startup that was like the Uber of cremation, basically.
Oh, man. That'd be great.
Right?
Well, I think another, like, at least people in our generation, and we're probably far too young to really think about this, but like we're like highly uneducated about this stuff. Yet any one of us could die at any moment. So should we not be prepared?
So I just click the app, but I want like a faceless thing. I want like a computer-based thing. You know, they just show up, they get the body, and they bring me a receptacle. It's all very fairly paid.
Pick you up, haul you away.
Yeah,
I like this.
I'm telling you, this is a legitimate business opportunity.
All right,
we could open it up to our listeners.
It's on record.
Okay.
If anyone else does it, at least give Gabe some credits here for. Some money would be nice too.
By credit, we mean cash. Yeah.
But anyways, so when it comes to cremation, any sort of special parameters? Do you want to be, I don't know, spread around in certain places around the world? Do you want to be in someone's home?
So I'm a big fan of like, okay, so from my perspective, I want to be cremated because it's like cost effective and practical and seems like the best way to go. But then I want those ashes spread in a place that's meaningful, I would say. For me, like the majesty of like national parks or like the ocean, things that probably will remain as such forever. Really earthy things seem like a good way to go. But like if I was like a big fan of like the Yankees, I would be like, yeah, sprinkle some of that around home plate.
Sure.
You know, like I think I would like my descendants or whoever is responsible for that to just kind of like think about places that were meaningful for me and just kind of do a little sprinkle.
Yeah. Gabe's left leg over here.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's like I'm chum. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I mean, I know there are people who put the ashes in an urn, just sort of sits at someone's home.
Kind of hoarding, though.
It kind of is.
And there's a lot of anxiety. What if it gets stolen?
Yeah,
what if a robber came in and was like, look at that beautiful urn?
Yeah, or God forbid, like, you're having a house party, someone knocks it over.
Yeah, your dog starts licking it.
But anyways, I wouldn't want to be left in an urn. I think it's just too much to ask for in terms of responsibility of a person to take care of me. But I think for me, it's kind of spreading, similar idea, but spreading me around in all the places I've lived at.
Like literally, like you knock on the person's door. You go into their bedroom.
I don't think that
like,
detail.
This is Will's childhood bedroom. Do you mind if we just...
Can you dig a little hole in the back and bury me there? No, I haven't thought about it that detail. I think more just like the vicinity of the city where I've lived at.
That's nice.
But that in conjunction with, so like natural bodies of water, mountains would be great. I don't know about how I feel about deserts, because then you're just kind of like mixing in with the rest of the sand.
Little do you know that deserts are far more alive than you think.
Yeah.
At least I feel that way. Yeah.
Maybe desert might be an option. But so that's the way I would sort of plan my whole cremation situation.
But so how do you have this conversation with your wife? Like, how do you actually engage them in a way where you're like, hey, this is important?
Yeah, look, I have yet to successfully have that conversation. I've attempted it, and I've approached it somewhat in a joking manner, which maybe that's not the right way to do it. Like, I'm trying to approach it in a more lighthearted way, so it doesn't feel like a heavy conversation with Christine. But I don't know, maybe I have to change the tone a little bit. Maybe it has to be a bit more of a serious conversation. And like what comes to mind off the top of my head is, in the past, I've been lighthearted and I've said stuff like, "Oh, like what if I die?" Right? Like, well, what will you do? Maybe instead of approaching it that way, it's more of, "Look, honey, like this is a very serious topic to discuss, right?" And then as sort
really
of
important to me.
Yeah, like as daunting and sort of somewhat morbid and uncomfortable as a conversation is, it's important for us to have the discussion about like how we want our lives, our bodies after we pass away to be handled and treated.
God forbid you die before me. I want to make sure that I honor you in the way that you intended.
Exactly. And I think you can say that.
And I want that to be cost effective, Christine, because like I still want to have money to spend.
Well, I think it's a whole conversation of if it does open up into a dialogue, what if like I want cremation, but she wants to be buried, and like she wants to be buried next to me. So that's like a whole another thing to talk about.
Better start talking now. It might be a long conversation before you get to a resolution.
Yeah, and that's the point. We got to talk about it because there are all these like unknowns. And the last thing I would want is, again, God forbid, pass away. Christine has no idea what to do with my body. Like that's a lot of headache and stress on her. But if she was very clear about, oh, this is how Will felt about it, and this is how he would like to be remembered, then it'd be a little bit less stressful for her if that should ever happen. God forbid.
I'm going to just use our child that's about to be born.
Mm-hmm.
We need to figure this out prior to.
Right.
And here are some reasons why you should be cool with cremation, even though she probably won't be.
Right.
So that's what's going to happen.
Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah. Should we move on? We have one other topic that we were thinking about talking to. We went a little long.
We went a little long, right? I totally forgot we had this topic coming up.
Should we shelve it?
I think we should save it for the next one.
Okay.
Because it's a pretty fun topic to talk about.
Robust topic.
Yeah. We'll lead into it on the next episode. How about that?
Indeed.
I guess with that said, let's close this out.
Let's close it out. We didn't really figure anything out other than this is a major expense, a major source of stress. Figuring out what happens to your body after you're gone. It has major implications on a whole lot of fronts. So as a husband, you can represent. If you check this off your honey-do list, you can really like flex those man muscles, those husband muscles.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about it at some point. So why not now?
Well, you're watching on YouTube. If you stumbled upon us, you can subscribe. If you're listening, hopefully you are subscribed. If you want to see what we look like, go on YouTube. Type in The Mr. Husband or Mr. Husband, whichever. What's our channel?
It should be The Mr. Husband. Actually, I'm going to check this because
we're going to check it.
I don't want to give the wrong information.
This is so sloppy. It doesn't even matter. People are resourceful. They'll type in Mr. Husband and they'll find us.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just Mr. Husband.
I hope so, because that's the name of the podcast. So rate us. Give us only good vibes, hopefully. Otherwise, our egos will be crushed.
It is indeed Mr. Husband, by the way.
Mr. Husband, represent.
YouTube. And Claire Danes is looking at me, and she says it's time to go. It's time to wrap it up.
Oh, yeah. For the people who can't see what Will is referring to, our microphones are on giant stacks of magazines, so because we don't have the money to pay for stands.
Hey, it works fine for me. Somehow this got a little bit taller, which I like. But anyways, yeah, Claire Danes at the top, just staring into my eyes, just saying, Will,
shut up.
It's time to wrap it up, baby. With that said, what is there left to say, I guess?
Let's use our tagline, our sign-off line. Peace out, husbands.
Peace out.